Hello, happy Monday, everybody. We're getting very close to the end of our Titanic book. We're on chapter 20. And luckily, Mrs. Alston has the second and third book. And so we're going to meet up this week and from 6 feet away and slide across the book. So we'll be able to continue reading in the series because we definitely want to see what's going to happen with this mystery and with these characters. So I'm going to read chapter 20 today. Also, I will be posting comprehension question on Google Classroom, and I will also be assigning you a ReadWorks article to do today. So in case you're running out of books to read at home, we'll have that. I'll also be sending a link for a book order for Scholastic. They're doing a new pop-up shop where you can place orders through the classroom, but instead of being delivered to the school, those books will be delivered right to you at your house. Because we want to make sure that you just keep reading, and taking those AR tests and summarizing your reading logs. So teacher read, Google Classroom question, ReadWorks article, make sure you're reading at home. And tomorrow I will be posting my first math lesson and IXL assignment for you. Also, I'll send a link out to your parents and post one on Google Classroom as well for a Google Hangout session at 4 o'clock today, so we can just kind of touch base and maybe set some goals for ourselves for the week. So here we go, chapter 20. RMS Titanic, Friday, April 12th, 1912, 8:30 a.m. The huge man grabbed Patty by his thin shoulders. The boy struggled, but could not break loose. Patty's street instincts came to the fore, and he bit down hard on the henchman's wrist. With a cry, Seamus let go. Patty snatched up the teapot and broke it across his assailant's knees. This brought about more howling, along with some well-placed curses. A waiter appeared in the main entrance. "Sir, I beg you, there are ladies in the dining." Another man appeared. Kevin Gilhooly. Patty fled as if he'd been shot from a cannon. Gilhooly shoved the waiter aside, knocking the man off his feet, and gave chase, Seamus hot on his heels. Patty's mind worked furiously. Was there anyone aboard this ship who wasn't after him? There had been little hysteria in his escape from Mr. Lightoller, but now Patty's legs were fueled by raw fear. The tender mercies of the second officer seemed pleasant compared with what these two thugs had planned for him. They had murdered Daniel in cold blood, and Patty was about to be next. He scampered down the corridor past second-class cabins, dancing around a steward pushing a coffee cart. All at once, Patty whirled around and gave the trolley a shove, sending it rolling toward his pursuers. With a crash, the gangsters barreled into the cart, knocking it over and sending cups and saucers everywhere. "Hey!" the steward exclaimed in outrage. The two thugs ran right over him, leaving him dazed on the carpeting. Running hard, Patty risked a glance over his shoulder and was shocked to find Gilhooly and Seamus only a few strides behind. How could he ever get away from two men who plowed like steam-powered road rollers over all obstacles, human or otherwise? Edek! If he could get back to Scotland Road, he'd be safe. The Gilhoolys might be willing to trample a lone steward, but they could never attack him in a passageway teeming with sailors. I'll be exposing myself to arrest by the White Star Line, but at least I'll have my life. He leaped down the companion stairs, expecting to enter the busy thoroughfare favored by the crew. Instead, he found himself in a narrow corridor of more second-class staterooms. What was going on? Had he gotten confused and landed on the wrong deck? He squinted at the cabin door. E87. This was Edek, all right. Where was Scotland Road? Heavy footfalls rattled the companion stairs. His pursuers were almost upon him. Patty looked around desperately. Only one door was open, the second-class barber shop. He raced past the bewildered shopkeeper and leaped into a barber chair, sending it spinning. As it swung past the counter, Patty reached into a bowl, coming up with a large dollop of shaving lather. He smeared the cream over his face with one hand while pulling a towel over his clothes with the other. The barber stared in amazement. "Lad, I don't know what you think you're—" Patty looked up with terrified eyes and breathed a single word. "Please." A second later, Gilhooly and Seamus roared down the passageway. The barber must have understood. He stepped in front of the chair, shielding Patty from the doorway. Picking up a straight razor, he pretended to shave his customer. Does this remind you of the scene earlier when he pretended to be in the spa and like covered himself up and everything with the towels? It reminds me a lot of that. Angry voices reverberated outside. The little worm couldn't have gone far. Patty shut his eyes and did something he hadn't done in a long time. He prayed. And then the two men were in the shop, filling it with their presence. A nasty little whelp in a ship's uniform, Gilhooly called to the barber. Which way did he go? I saw no such person, the barber replied stiffly. With a grunt, the gangster stepped out of the shop. All at once, Seamus grabbed his boss by the shoulder and pulled him back inside, indicating the mirror opposite the barber chair. There, from a mass of shaving lather, peeked the familiar face of a young boy. Paddy was out of the seat in a flash, his sole hope a swan dive through the narrow space between the two thugs. He very nearly made it. Seamus wrapped strong arms around Paddy, preventing all movement. It was impossible even to struggle. He cast a threatening look back at the terrified barber. I'll be remembering how helpful you were. Kevin Gilhooly addressed his victim. Lovely day for a funeral, eh, boy? I wonder how he's going to get out of this one. So our comprehension question and assignment for today is to make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen next now that the Gilhooly gang has Paddy in their grip?